So what's going on guys, Kades here and welcome back to a brand new video. For today we are checking out Albion online and we will see if this game is worth playing in 2022. So at the beginning of the video we will take a closer look at the game itself, then we will look into different game modes and activities that you can do as a solo or group player. Then we will see how good or bad the pay to win system is, or does it even exist. And then lastly we will go into the gameplay and we will see how hard or easy it is for a brand new player to pick this game up and just play from the start. So if this sounds interesting to you, then let's get right into it. So then, first things first, Albion Online is a sandbox MMORPG set in a medieval fantasy world. In this player-driven game world, nearly every weapon and building is created by the player, and you can switch your class by changing the weapon and the different gear you use. And whether a new player focuses on PvE, PvP or large-scale guild versus guild combat, every action in this game has meaning because, as well as consequences, the combat in this game is full loot. So Albion's big open world is made of hundreds of different zones, which are located in 5 different biomes across 2 massive continents. And those 5 biomes are steppe, forest, swamp, mountain and highlands, and these biomes determine which resources and creatures you will find. In addition, each biome contains 3 of 5 major natural resources, which you can find by clicking on each zone map. So the steppe biome has hide, ore and fiber, the forest has wood, hide and stone, swamp has wood, fiber, hide and etc. And then lastly you can collect fish in all of the 5 biomes. Then as far as the world map is, the whole world is divided into 2 continents, which is the Royal Continent and Outlands. So after you finish the tutorial, you'll be transported to the Royal Continent to start your adventure. The Royal Continent contains blue, yellow and red zones. In blue zones there is no PvP, and if you get killed by mobs you get just downed for a minute or 2. Then yellow zones are the same thing, just PvP is enabled if players decide to flag up. But again, if you die you just get downed. And then lastly the red zones is full loot PvP. But again you have to flag up, which contains its own risks. So while in red zones you will find players to fight, but the real PvP zones you will find in the black zone. And then lastly, the Royal Continent has 6 royal cities called Limhurst, Bridgewatch, Fort Sterling, Martlock, Thetford and Caerleon. These cities offer auction houses, crafting and refining stations. You can buy land and sell different crafting stations for taxes, and you get access to faction warfare system and even an option to travel to the black zone. So basically every single player lives in one of these 6 cities, and these are your main player hubs, from where you get to do all the activities in the game. Then moving over to the second continent, which is the Outlands, and this is Albion's full loot PvP arena. So all zones in Outlands are black zones, so that means that any player can attack any other player and you don't have to flag up. The Outlands are where much of the Albion's guild warfare takes place, with guilds battling over territories and placing hideouts and much more. So then moving over to the Destiny board, which is a big part of your progression, as this is a skill tree and progression tracker in Albion Online. In addition to tracking your past progression, it shows what future activities you will have to complete to unlock more skills, get access to wear stronger gear, or unlock to gather better resources. It is a vital tool in this game. While it might seem overwhelming at the start, it will become easier to understand after you spend some time in understanding the concept. So by pressing the B key, you open your Destiny board, and the idea is that by repeating the activities you enjoy and want to do, your character will automatically improve in those areas. So for instance, if you enjoy fighting with a sword, you should focus on using that specific sword and killing monsters, and this will unlock more skills and better swords that will allow you to deal more damage. In general, it will take a long time to complete everything, so mainly the Destiny board rewards players who more specialize in their own professions instead of leveling everything and being jack of all trades. So then if you're talking about economy of Albion Online, it can be split into 3 parts, which is the marketplace, aka the auction house, then crafting, and then lastly refining. The marketplace is where players can buy and sell items, which is the main part of the Albion Online economy. While players can trade anywhere in the world, the majority of trading in Albion happens through marketplace. Here players can list items for sale, place orders for items they're looking to buy, or buy any item listed for sale. Each city has its own market, and guild islands and guild territories have marketplaces as well, just private ones. Buying and selling on the marketplace is very easy. To buy or sell, you have 2 options. You can either fulfill or purchase an existing order, or you can create your own order. Even if an item has active or buy-sell order, you may want to create your own in order to make or save more money. Then the second part of the economy is crafting, and crafting in Albion is one of the most fun parts of the game, because you get to equip what you make. The most important thing to understand from the very start is that crafting is very time and resource intensive, but the long-term rewards are very much worth it. So then in a quick summary, you can craft items by collecting materials and then click the craft button. And then you can start crafting from tier 1. Each level will require for you to craft multiple duplicates to then earn fame and unlock the next tier gear. And then lastly, the third part is refining. So in order for crafters to make equipment, they will need to obtain refined resources. So raw material can always be gathered in the open world, but then you need to refine them to then unlock the option to use them for crafting or to construct buildings. And this refining process basically works the same way as just a simple item crafting for materials. So then moving over to the PvE aspect of this game, and I personally have split this one again in 3 simple parts. The first part is monster killing, aka fame farming. So as I mentioned, to get access to better weapons and higher damage, you will want to kill monsters by using specific weapon, and killing monsters is called fame farming, which you can do in hardcore expeditions, which are located in each city. But they won't give you as good rewards because you can get killed in them, but if you use very high gear, then they can be worth to grind in the end game. Then we have 2 more places to kill monsters, which is the open world and dungeons. By just running around the map and different zones, you will find mobs to kill, so you can walk around and grind fame, or the last option is to farm dungeons. In every single zone, there are 2 types of dungeons. The big group dungeons are these blue big caves, which are meant for at least 2 to 3 players. But then across the map, you can find as well smaller dungeons, which are meant for solo players. So like in any MMO, you just simply kill monsters and get rewards in return. Then moving over to the second PvE system, which is the gathering. So gathering is the process where you run around the open world and collect different materials. And by gathering resources, you will advance and unlock not only excellent tools, but as well armor specifically designed to help you gather more resources more quickly and more safely, and it is called the gathering gear. Gatherers usually are the players who don't like to fight other players, but they just simply explore the big world of Albion and make easy silver at the same time. So these players are one of the richest ones, as they can gather materials and refine them and then craft them for powerful gear or just sell them on the marketplace. And then last but not the least, we have the third PvE part, which are the islands and food farming. Islands are permanently bound to the city where they were purchased first, and can be only accessed from the city itself. Player islands have many purposes, including farming, growing herbs, hiring laborers, and building refine and crafting stations. The farming system allows you to grow your own crops or herbs, which you can then feed animals with, cook food, or even brew your own potions. Farmers are one of the most important professions in Albion, because they basically build the economy by producing all the food supply that is needed to do a variety of activities. So for example, from feeding baby animals to create powerful mounts, to crafting potions that are essential to combat and gathering. So then moving over to the PvP, which in this game is my most favorite part, and the system is split into 2 categories, which are solo and group PvP. So by group PvP I mean open world ganking, hellgates, arenas, Zerg vs Zerg, and much more. So let me quickly summarize each activity. So first of all, open world ganking is when a group of players together run around the red or black zone areas where PvP and full loot is enabled, and then there they find other players farming or gathering, and then they catch them and kill them. As Albion is full loot PvP, this is a very fun aspect, and you get rewarded by getting all the loot that the other player had in his inventory. Then Hellgates are instant PvP dungeons, which you can find in yellow, red or black zones. Hellgates are basically like a combination between PvP and PvE arena, where you can join in a 2v2 Hellgate or a 5v5, and then the concept is that you enter the zone and kill monsters, and while you're doing that, the other 5-player team joins the dungeon, so then you go to the middle and fight. This is a very fun way to make money and do PvP with your friends. Then moving to the arenas, and this is another instance PvP, but this time the arenas is a 5v5 battleground, where you have to capture 3 points of interest, and the team with the highest eliminations or points will win the match. This activity is not full loot, so you can queue up with random players and just try out the PvP in a safe environment. And then lastly, the Zerg vs Zerg is the place where you get to do 100 vs 100 fights, where the biggest guilds in open world fight each other for territories, castles, and much more. This activity requires for you to join active guild, but you can still experience big fights by joining faction warfare, which is a very similar thing just with random players, which makes the whole experience a lot more chaotic. But if you're not a hardcore player, then this is a good and fun way to try out large-scale PvP. And then moving over to the solo PvP, which is the corrupted dungeons, solo ganking, and 1v1 duels. So this game is very solo player friendly, if you know it how to use it to your advantage. So first of all, the corrupted dungeons are basically the same thing like Hellgates, where you fight monsters, but then instead of fighting a 5v5, in the corrupted dungeons, you just match up against another solo player. So then you fight in the middle, and winner takes all the gear and loot from the final boss. The corrupted dungeons game mode is the most popular one in the entire game, as any player can join basically a 1v1 arena, where you fight for gear, and this way as a solo player, you can still get to enjoy PvP. And then lastly we have solo ganking and 1v1 duels, which should be self-explanatory. So in solo ganking, you just run around the world looking for easy targets or new players, but you have to be careful from the bigger groups. And then the 1v1 duels are just fun way to spend some time by trying out different builds in the cities, or just to fight your friends for fun or even for silver if you challenge each other. So overall, the PvP aspect in Albion is very diverse, and this game is very group and solo player friendly. Okay, so now we have come to the pay to win topic, which I decided to include in this video as a separate part, because in the last few years it's important for players to know if the game is really pay to win. So in the next minute or two I will try to give you my perspective. So in my opinion, Albion Online is 100% pay to win, but let me explain. I personally haven't seen any good MMORPG games and that don't have some aspect of pay to win. So Albion is not pay to win like Lost Ark or Black Desert. If I would have a scale for Lost Ark and Black Desert from 10-point system, then I would put it around 9 out of 10. But then Albion is still pay to win, but around 5 out of 10. There's no decent game in this MMO category which is not pay to win, so it all depends on if you can tolerate it. In Albion, you can gather, farm and earn silver or basically do anything you want for free, and there is no paywall whatsoever, but players still can buy gold for real life money, which then they can convert to silver and buy gear, tomes of insight to level up their destiny board and much more. But my biggest reason of why I am okay with Albion's pay to win is because it's a full loot PvP game, and anyone that spends money can easily lose it in open world. Then as well, there's no difference between a free to play and pay to win player, except that the pay to win player, instead of playing the game for 10 hours, he will spend $1,000. And yes, by the way, to actually pay to win in this game, it will require a lot of money and a lot of swiping. And then lastly, the new player content like Yellow Zone Hellgates or Yellow Zone 1v1 arenas all have item caps. So even if the enemy player is running very high item score in the Yellow Zone PvP, all gear is equalized. So the only way for pay to win player to use this gear is to use it in open world where it's full loot. So in a summary, Albion is by definition pay to win, but very soft if we compare it to World of Warcraft, Lost Ark, Black Desert and much more. So now in my last and final conclusions for this game. I've been personally playing Albion for more than 5,000 hours, and I played this game when it was in the beta. If we take a look at the stage of the game in 2017 and then now in 2022, the game has 3 to 4 times more content. It is very solo and group friendly. The player base is still active, with Steam numbers being around 8 to 9,000, and as the other 50% population plays on the official Albion launcher, so we can easily double this number. And the best part about the population is that this game is open world, and guilds and players have to actually live in open world, so you will always find players to play with and fight against. And of course, in this video I couldn't tell you every single activity there is in this game, but there's a lot more you can do, and the developers keep on introducing new updates with new weapons and much more. So in my summary, the pros are that Albion is free to play, the pay to win system is very not noticeable if we compare it to other MMORPGs. Then this game is very solo and group player friendly. Then as well, Albion has a lot of content and they keep on adding new features. Then the gathering, crafting and farming is very fun to do even as a PvP player, because when you kill players you will get gear, so you have to sell it for more money to then buy more gear for yourself to use. So it requires all PvP and PvE players to always be a small part of the economy. Then as well, Albion has leaderboards, so you can compete against other players. And then lastly, Albion's been out for about 5 years now, so developers know what they are doing, and the dark no content days are behind us, so now they actually listen to their community. But then on the other hand, for the cons, of course I have to mention that this is still pay to win game, then Albion is full loot PvP, so not all players will like the system. But of course there is a still way to PvP while not losing anything, which we covered in the PvP part of this video. Then on top of all this, Albion graphics are not the best and may seem outdated if we compare it to New World, Black Desert, Lost Ark and etc. And then lastly, this game has been out for a while now, so most active players already have the best of the best gear, so for a new player it will take a while to get a decent level where you will have access to the most hardcore guilds and the most profitable ways to make money. But overall, Albion is free to play, so you can't lose anything by trying this game out, and it is definitely worth your time. So with that said, I really do appreciate everyone for watching guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, feedback or other good Albion Online videos or game reviews that you would like to see in the next video, then feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below. And while you're doing that, please click like, subscribe and enable that notification bell, so this way you could support the channel and you wouldn't miss any more amazing content from me. So with all this said, you have an amazing day and I'll catch you in my next video. So take it easy, peace.
Yo, I ain't here